Today, we're breaking down Calypso Casino before release using top-down spectator views and first-person walkthroughs to help you understand the map before jumping into live matches. Starting on the second floor, the first thing to notice is how open the outer lanes are compared to the tighter interior rooms. This level is built around long sight lines, balcony pressure, and extended hallway control, with several pathways reconnecting through the center of the floor. The split staircase becomes one of the main movement anchors here, allowing players to quickly rotate between upper and lower sections while still maintaining visual control over several major lanes. Moving into the floor itself, the second level immediately feels designed around visibility and layered pressure rather than direct close-range fights. Most rooms connect through long corridors or partial openings, meaning players are often exposed to multiple angles at once if they move too quickly. The exterior-facing sections are especially important. Attackers crossing outside space will likely spend the first weeks of release dealing with heavy spawn peaks and long-range defender pressure from windows, balconies, and hallway openings overlooking the approaches below. Overall, the second floor feels built around information, patience, and movement timing, and understanding these connections early will probably decide who controls the pace of the round once Calypso releases. Moving down to the first floor, this is where Calypso Casino becomes much easier to understand visually. The casino floor acts as the center of the map, with surrounding rooms and hallways constantly reconnecting players back toward the middle sections of the building. Compared to the upper floor, this level feels more open, more interconnected, and far more dependent on understanding how movement flows between the major landmarks like the casino, aquarium, lounges, and hallway connectors. Walking through the first floor, the biggest thing players will notice is how much of the map is built around layered movement instead of isolated rooms. Most spaces connect into multiple pathways, meaning players constantly need to think about where nearby pressure may come from. The casino itself is likely going to become one of the map's primary fighting zones. Slot machines, gaming tables, pillars, and decorative structures naturally break up sight lines, while still leaving players vulnerable to crossfires from nearby rooms and hallway openings. As destruction begins opening walls and removing cover, the floor gradually becomes more dangerous to cross. This appears to be one of the core identities of Calypso Casino. The longer the round lasts, the less safe many of these spaces become. The aquarium area acts as one of the easiest landmarks to recognize while learning the map. It connects several important pathways together and will likely become a major rotation point during both executes and retakes. Another important detail throughout the floor is how many partial sight lines exist between rooms. Several sections expose movement for only a second or two at a time, rewarding players who establish patient angles instead of rushing directly through the map. Defenders will likely feel very comfortable here during the early weeks of release, because the floor provides many fallback routes and overlapping defensive angles. At the same time, attackers who clear sections methodically will probably find the layout much easier to manage once the major landmarks begin making sense. Moving into the basement, Calypso Casino changes pace significantly. The large open lanes and long exterior sight lines above are replaced by tighter interiors, compressed movement, and much faster engagements. At a layout level, the basement feels more structured and easier to mentally process, with smaller hallways and utility spaces funneling players directly toward the objective areas. Walking through the basement, the environment immediately feels more controlled compared to the upper floors. Sight lines are shorter, rotations are tighter, and players will likely encounter pressure much earlier once attackers begin moving towards site. Several rooms appear designed around layered defensive support rather than large, roaming routes. Defenders can rotate quickly between nearby spaces while maintaining control over important hallway connectors and utility rooms. Destructibility also becomes far more dangerous here. Opening even a small section of wall can suddenly expose multiple pathways and objective angles at the same time. Because movement is more compressed, attackers will probably need stronger drone coordination in the basement than anywhere else on the map. Defenders can reposition quickly and punish players entering rooms without proper information. Overall, the basement feels intentionally designed as a tighter, more pressure-focused contrast to the sprawling upper sections of Calypso Casino.